Hello, Ken Hunter. Hello, Peter Bosustow.
Yeah.
What about that for a start?
That was outstanding, Sam. That was a very good introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I go Can I go straight to Buzz and Kenny?
Yep.
All right.
We're going to run people over here in a minute.
Yeah.
I was just saying to Kenny, Sam, when we met, we come across in '81 together, and I was the introvert and Kenny was the extrovert.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. Wrong way around.
Well, I think it was the wrong way around. Yeah.
You say you came over in '81 together.
Yep.
But before that, you played in the Waffle against each other.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Kenny, you were an All-Australian before you even came to the VFL.
Yeah, I was. The previous 2 years, I was played in the carnivals over there, and I got picked in the All-Australian teams, which was good. But when I did come over, I was at the pub, and Trevor Keogh said, "Mate, what position do you play?" And I said, "Halfback flank." And he goes, "Well, good luck. There's only the back line's full of All-Australians." I didn't want to tell him that I was
All-Australian himself. Yeah, that's
You
right.
come over in '81, and you both make your debut together,
Yes.
round one
Yeah.
against Richmond.
Yep.
Your memories?
Sensational. I ran out onto the ground. Now, I think Kenny and I played on each other the last game in Perth. There was 4,000 people going, "Good on you, Buzzer! Good on you, Kenny! Good luck for next year!"
That's right.
Of course, we ran out the next year, 77,000 people there, Sam. I was on wobbly legs.
Yeah.
No, I'd shot my mouth off the week before, though. I told him how good I was and how I could jump high, and I couldn't get a kick for 20 minutes. Kenny's up there starring, of course, and I couldn't get a kick for 20 minutes. I thought, "Oh, this is the end of me." Anyway, David Parkin, of course, our great coach, just give me a couple of little bits of advice, and I took those advice. I think we won by about 10 goals that day, didn't we, Kenny? Our first game, and
Yeah, we did.
played pretty well, and of course it all sort of shot up from there.
Interesting
Sam,
tactic, Buzz, that you went a bit lippy.
Yes, I
in the
did.
lead up.
Yes, yeah. Unlike me, though, isn't
No,
it?
it is unlike him. It's,
Can you decide to be a bit more quiet, a bit more humble in the lead up to your first game?
I wasn't like Buzz. I didn't come like a firecracker. As Buzz said, I was the introvert, he was the extrovert, flamboyant half-forward flanker, as they are. And he took it by storm and told everyone how good he was. But the good thing about Buzz was that he could actually back it up.
David Parkin, the phone call on a Friday night. I spoke to him recently, and he spoke very highly about you two both. The phone call came up, and he was pretty fine with you, but with you though, Buzz, he reckons he'd get a call from the guy you were living with.
Yeah,
at
old
about
Leo.
Leo,
Yes,
saying
yes.
at about he'd call Park, and Leo
Yeah.
would call David Park at 9:30, say, "Don't call him for another hour. He's on his way home from Moonee Valley." Is that
Right,
true?
that's true. That is true.
right?
Yeah. And David knew where I was, and I was at the Trots. The Trots used to always look after me, and they knew who I was. And I had to get home by, I think David rang me about 10:15. So
yeah.
Leo covered for me a lot.
I mean, David Parkin was probably ahead of his time in a lot of ways. I'd certainly never had a coach like him, and I'm sure Buzz would say the same. But he's very methodical,
Meticulous, wasn't he?
meticulous.
Yeah.
Walked into a group of players. I'm sure he didn't know what he's getting himself into. Blokes that the introverts and the extroverts, and try and gel all these blokes together into one team. Took a mighty effort by Parkin to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because you got to admit, Parkin didn't drink or didn't smoke, and back in those days, most of the blokes after training we go straight to the pub, and David Parkin would be driving past, and they'd all lift the glass and go, "Cheers, there goes a cockroach." And David Parkin would be going, "You can't believe the whole team's in the pub after we'd just trained our bloody asses off for 2 hours."
How do these lineups match up? Who wins this matchup? Hunter, Dool, Perovic take on Bosustow, McClure, and Johnson.
Tell you what, we would have made it hard for them.
Yeah, I reckon.
We would have out-tackled them.
Would have been a lot of defensive pressure, I'm
There
sure.
was,
Buzz.
exactly.
Ken?
Well, that'd be an interesting one. I reckon Pera and McClure, well, that would be a good battle,
Yeah.
because they're good mates as well. So, I don't know. That'd be a line ball, but
Would you pick up the Dom or me,
Yeah.
Kenny?
I don't know. I reckon if I picked up Dom, he might whack me.
He wouldn't have thought about whacking you. He would have whacked you.
If I had played on Buzz, he might have jumped on my head. So that'd be
yeah.
a tough one as well.
I'll tell you what, it would have been a good aerial duel, wouldn't it? Sam, the Buzzer and Kenny Hunter.
So
Yeah.
if assuming that you take Jono,
Yep.
and you take the whack,
Yeah.
do you happy with Bruce Dool lining up on your Buzz?
Brucey Dool used to pick me up on Sunday morning at training, Kenny. Remember our Protestant wars in those days?
Yes,
And
yeah.
Jamal McClure says that. Catholics versus the
unbelievable.
Protestants.
Yes,
Yes,
that's right.
yep.
And Brucey used to take that just as serious as he did training and, of course, the game situation. Whenever Bruce went on to you in the Protestant games, that was the end of you. You never got a kick.
football clubs are so great that someone, for instance, like Warren Jones and Mike Fitzpatrick have to spend 8 months of the year together in a club. And it's the same that Ken, that say someone like Bruce Dool has to spend time with Peter Bosustow.
Well,
they're just football clubs are great like that.
What about me and Mike Fitzpatrick? I couldn't put bloody 2 syllables together. Mike's going on like letter on words that big, and I'm next to him.
All right, I've never asked this question. How often did he tell you that he was a Rhodes Scholar?
Oh. Well, no.
Or was he a Rhodes Scholar at the time?
He was a great leader.
But we all, we could all tell he was smart.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one that could understand his own sense of humour.
and it was dry, wasn't it? It was
most of it just went straight over the top of us.
So a lot of Mike Fitzpatrick's jokes were just for an audience of one, Ken. Is that what you're
Pretty
telling me?
much, yes.
I know the feeling, by the way.
Well, because most of us were either sales reps or teachers back in those days.
We weren't intellects, were we?
I'll say this, Buzz. You won the Mark of the Year in 1981.
Yes.
Ken, you won Mark of the Year in 1983. Took you till 1983. That's embarrassing, Ken.
Yeah.
Sam, I just don't really want you to bring this up because Kenny gets a bit of a laugh out of this.
Well,
Go on. I've asked everyone who's driven me around. I've asked them about the Mark. McClure, Johnson, where they were.
Okay. We're in a little bit of trouble, and Parkin sent the runner out and said, "Look, we've got to do something special. A goal or whatever, a shepherd or a tackle, And I thought, I'll jump on someone's head. Ken, it's going to be the way to go,
What about your view of it, Ken? In 81, Buzz's Mark in the forward pocket.
It was just sensational. I was down at back line and all of a sudden I see this person rise above the pack up on the shoulders of John Mossop, I think it was.
That's right, yeah.
And it was bloody the Buzzman, and both being West Australians, I suppose there was a bit of a competitive streak there, and I thought, oh, bloody hell, I think he's got me. And, not only that, yeah.
We had a bit of a rivalry over marks, as you can see, Sam.
So that's 81, Mark of the Year,
Yep.
the famous Mark.
Yep.
Ken, you won in 83
for
Channel 7.
Yes,
right?
I did. I took a mark against Richmond in 83, and it wasn't, I suppose, a spectacular mark.
It's the one running back, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
Oh,
and,
courageous, yeah. Yes.
And I remember at the time, I didn't think much of it, and then at the end of the year, I won Mark of the Year, and I won a Commodore car, and then of course Buzz won it. The ABC also had Mark of the Year, and Buzz won it on the ABC.
So Kenny, you won a car.
Yeah, I did, and Buzz won a bike, and.
Did you?
Melbourne Star it was. Yeah, come on,
nice.
Ken, it was a little bit,
The story has, and I've never asked Buzz, but he might be able to, but apparently he ran up Channel 7 and said, well, I think my mark was better. Can't believe that.
No, you don't believe that, Sam. I would not
were
have done that.
competitive,
I might have sent a telegram or something like that, but I didn't ring him up, no.
Because you were so close, though, Ken, did you offer Buzz that you put the bike in the back of the car if you wanted a lift time?
I said, no, I did say to him, you can come and polish my car anytime you like, Buzz.
Sammy, did you want to talk about the goal of the year too?
Well, it certainly wasn't me.
That's right, wasn't it?
No.
It was me.
When was it you?
There's
That's
no
a
need,
coincidence.
no need for me to set these things up, are there, Buzz? In 1981, you won the Mark of the Year. And what else did you win?
The goal of the year,
right,
that's right.
And it wasn't a bad goal
All right.
either.
Yeah, tell me. Well, actually, first, Ken, can you tell me about the goal? What was your view of it?
I
Was
think
it
Kenny
Waverley?
kicked it 25 foot over my head. It was one of his good passes.
Yeah, one of our good
I had to
passes.
go back
No,
and
it was-
chase it,
No, it was against Geelong, and
Yeah.
I think it was Nankervis, I think. I remember on being in the back line again and thinking they're going to kick the ball, and Buzz has just thrown himself at the footy and smothered the ball and picked it up and snapped it over his shoulder, and did the big fist pump up in the air.
With the two fists.
But
Yeah.
it,
Got a hug from Jono?
yeah, obviously, but it was, when those sort of things happen on the footy field, and Buzz could do it, and Dominator, and just
Wayne Harms.
Wayne Harms,
Yeah.
those inspirational acts that really turned the game.
Did Ken just do justice?
Oh,
Buzz,
yeah,
or
no,
not? Is
look,
there anything else you want to
Yeah,
add?
well, you might want to add something. I'm sure I missed
Well,
something. How do you?
I did
how do
dive
you-
from about 25 feet away. I think you missed that.
How would you describe each other, Ken? How would you describe the Buzz?
Buzz, look, Buzz was, when he first came over, in WA, and Busby, I think he'd agree with this. He kicked his 5 and 6 goals, and then you mightn't see him for a couple of weeks, and then he'd pop up again and kick another 5 or 6. But when he came to Victoria, it was like he was built for the big stage, and he was a big game player. He just thrived on the crowds and playing with the players that we were, and he just took his whole game to a whole different level.
I thought to myself at that stage when I come across, Ken was always going to make it because he was the complete player, great state player. We played a few state games together, and Ken performed all the well in them. I probably put the pressure on myself, Sam, to perform, but I knew I had the backup because it was a great side.
Sorry, back to the original question, Buzz. You're supposed to, this is your chance to talk about Ken now.
Oh, sorry, yes. Did I swing it back to myself? Did I? Oh, geez.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's give it.
No, well, look, Kenny, well, I'm unashamedly say, mate, I made a play with the best player in history. Ken played for 3 years in Western Australia, had 3 broken jaws before he came over.
Yeah.
And what a courageous player he was then. He just mentioned a couple of All Australians. The next 3 years, we won the two premierships together, and Kenny was just, he just went from strength to strength. And I don't think you had an injury, Ken, in that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years then, and
No.
and that was a probably unbroken, sequence of games. So Carlton really got the best out of Ken,
Well,
and
It's been one of the joys and one of the biggest privileges of my life to spend time with the great Ken Hunter and the great Peter Bosustow. On behalf of all Carlton supporters, thank you.
Thank you,
It's our
Sam.
pleasure.
Our pleasure. Yep.
Yep.
Cheers.
Thanks.